At the end of the year, I was flying to Melbourne from Munich via Dubai, and I had chosen Emirates. And I got into the plane and I took the seat I was supposed to take. When a stewardess came by asking me whether I want to exchange seats with my girlfriend. And I was a little bit confused, and she go ahead explaining and told me, well, a man is not allowed within our policies to sit beside a girl underage. And I was even more confused because I was looking again at my girlfriend and she was definitely not underage. But then I turned my head to the right and I saw this little young girl smiling at me, and now I got a clue what she meant. But a few moments later, and because I love to see things from different perspectives, I thought, okay, actually, what is about the other way around? And of course, this is an uncommon question, but I had to ask it, and of course, as you guessed it, the stewardess told me there's definitely no problem if a woman is sitting beside an underage boy. This made me think for a while. But today I do not want to talk about how to deal with cuties, but instead I want to talk about how to get equalization and how to get discrimination in perspective. So we have to start with the most boring part, with definitions, but as long as I'm a lawyer, I will start with that. So to put it simple, discrimination is to treat a group of people unequally in disadvantage to others. So when we are talking about nature, there is equality and inequality already given by nature based on a huge variety of species. So there are different kind of individuals facing different kind of circumstances. And they're all living together by a huge balance based on the nature as well. So, and even though within those balance, evolution created different kind of species and a lot of differences in details, we are all human. Even though, based on those circumstances, we have differences. We have differences when it comes to religion. We have differences when it comes basically to society. We're talking about physical advantages, and there might be a difference between men and women as well. On the other hand, we have equality and inequality defined by society. Society also tries, as the nature balance, to survive or to ensure the survival of its members. And again, we have a huge number of members within a society. But in addition to all those natural circumstances, you have opinion and interests within the society you have to deal with. And so the equation is getting even more complex. To deal with such an amount of complexity, you need something called law. And because people are mostly not likely to do what they are supposed to do, you need something called legal enforcement. So, and when we start from there again, you have to consider that law is something you have to agree on, at least if you want to stay part of society. And because of that, your natural world does not necessarily have to fit those laws. Basically, we need those laws to ensure this vast number of individuals living together. I give you an example. It is mostly important when there is no time to negotiate interests. Let us imagine there are 3 cars approaching to an intersection, and they're coming from 3 different directions. And of course, they now could just stop the car, step outside of the car, meet in the middle of the intersection, and discuss who of them should be the chosen one to cross the intersection first. But I think this won't work in nowadays life. On the other hand, you have to think about the following. If you have too many rules, then it can happen that your estimation is rather based on those rules than on your own thoughts. I give you another example. I was traveling through Vietnam, and I experienced something within the traffic or the traffic jams within big cities. So you can try to drive through the cities of Vietnam by applying all the traffic rules you know. And I can tell you something. Either you will die or at least you will hurt yourself. So this is not working if you have not a good estimation by yourself about the environment. So to make it more precise, we need the law in some perspective. For example, you know the phrase that everyone should be equally treated before the law. This is a principle to ensure the freedom of the people on the one hand and to avoid arbitration on the other hand. So this is necessary. But there are some governments who are mainly dealing with questions about how to treat people equal instead of supporting their diversity. And this is happening all over the world. We can start from Germany, UK, the US, Australia, South Africa, the Philippines, and so on. That might be such a big issue, but consider the following. If you have an equation and you think there's a part weaker than the other, but in reality it's not. If you are now going to increase the power and support this seems weaker part, then the whole natural equation is getting out of balance. And that might be not such a really good thing in the end. This is about the law issue, and I will give you an example for that as well. Within my company, I'm dealing most of my time with insurances and insurance contracts. So before 2011, there was a difference in risk assessment between men and women. Because there are statistics showing that women are living longer. And because of that, an insurance company, for example, have to pay the woman the amount of money, or it can happen that she has to receive the money longer than her male colleague. In 2011, in a controversial judgment, the European Court of Justice did the following. The Court of Justice said that there shouldn't be any difference between men and women concerning this risk calculation. So what the court in the end said was that there is a natural given difference, but it shall not be applied for the law. And this also makes me really confused, because sometimes I think law is rather creating reality than serving reality, what it actually should do. So, okay, now we are coming to the most difficult part of my talk, because when I introduced the main topic to friends and colleagues, they reacted like, "Are you kidding?" Or, "Did you run out of hobbies?" And I was really scared to go on the stage and talk about, but after a few moments I remembered one phrase, one of my idols, which goes, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." So, so let us give a warm applause to today's topic. Please welcome the discrimination of men. Okay. I discussed that with my girlfriend, and she told me you shouldn't do that because nobody will clap their hands. But okay, it seems working. That's a pretty good one. Okay, so I will give you a few examples to show this. For example, we have the equalization law of Berlin, who says if men and women with the same skills are applying for a job in a university, the female applicants should get a prior position until 50% of female workers in university are in charge. That's the first one. The second one, in 2014 as well, the Humboldt University of Berlin was advertising vacancies for a position of a math teacher. And 15 women were applying for this job and double the number of men. And because of normal probability distribution, a man with the best skills won the race. But because the government of Berlin only wanted to support the university if a woman won the first place, they canceled the whole application. And there's another example also happened in 2014. This time the newspaper TEDx also advertised vacancy for a female with migration background. And a Ukrainian male also applied and of course got dismissed. He sued and also won the trial, and the court held that supporting equality of females should not be applied if within the same time men are getting discriminated. And I give you two more examples. The first example is that Ursula von der Leyen, who is our current Minister of Defense in charge, says that she wants to have 30% a female quota within supervisory boards in Germany. Christina Schröder, which is a former family minister of Germany, also supports her opinion, and she wants to do that by forcing the companies to build in those quotas in the business contracts with their employees. And furthermore, in the coalition agreement last year, it was written down that these 30% of female quota should be applied for the 100 biggest market-listed companies in Germany. So it really seems that this is already an issue. But we should also have a look what these, for example, quotas are actually doing to business. So people are trying to increase diversity by that, but is this really possible, or is this really happening? Because on the other hand, the way you increase diversity, you also have to look to something else. Because if you are supporting one group of people, and this one group of people does not have enough people to fit all the jobs, then there's going to be a problem. So if a specific group of people is not supporting you, or is not supporting the necessary demand, you will have a problem that the general level of skill and ability will decrease, because you have to fill the gap with people less skilled. So when it comes to that, you decrease most of the general ability and skill, which is of course, or should be of course, mostly important to the companies. Furthermore, to this problem, you are changing a natural given equation. And what does that mean? If you're going to change a natural given equation, then most of the members of those systems are going to suffer. If they are going to suffer, they naturally are trying to adapt to this situation. But the more you are adapting to a certain situation, the more you have the problem that you are getting unhappy. And by getting unhappy, there will be a moment where you definitely want to change something rather than to adapt. So at this point, everyone is getting unhappy. And if the people are getting unhappy, they are not anymore likely to work better in quality and in quantity. So one of the questions now is how to solve this problem. There's something called diversity management. And diversity management does the following. Diversity management says that there is a job perfectly fitting to everybody out there in the market. So you have a job and you only have to find somebody who fits this job. But is this really working? I mean, how do you know who of the people out there will fit your job if you're not going to ask them, if you're not asking them what is important to them, what will support their advantages, for example, to improve their working performance, for example. So this is actually not really working, and it's especially not really working because they are rather dealing with the wealth of the company than with the interests of the people. So, because this whole conference is about how to make a change, I of course will offer solutions, or at least I will try. I have a couple of ideas that go with those diversity systems, but they are going even beyond. I would suggest to create business environment around the people. So you just have to have a look what are the really differences between men and women and how we can support them. It is a good idea to think about how we can support them because most of the people, most of the employees are not really interested in the wealth of the company, but they're interested in themselves. So if you start making your employees happy, giving them the environment they want to work in, they will automatically improve your own business. In addition to that, when I just have a look at my own company, and now I will give you two examples that will show you how I will have or how I will find concrete solutions. The first is teamwork. When it goes about teamwork, I have to think about my own company. The interesting thing is when I started my own company half a year ago, I realized something quite weird. I was reading books, I was talking to CEOs, and the more I was reading and the more I was listening, I got to the conclusion that I didn't really start business. And why is that? I was just not hiring somebody. I was not looking for talents, and I wasn't advising vacancy. The only thing that happened was people were approaching. People were approaching with ideas, with visions, with dreams we can all share. This was the basis. So maybe we should stop thinking about how to create teams, but instead how to bring people's interests together. How we can build a company around their ideas, those things they all have in common, those things they really believe in. Because if you are dealing with the interests of the people, you are dealing with what matters to them most. So if you offer them just a job, they might do just their job, but they are exchangeable. And the question is going to be, who wants to be exchangeable? So in my business, I applied something I called interest management system, or IMS. I mean, we have a lot of academic people here, and they love shortcuts, so it only goes IMS. And what I'm doing there is the following. There are 3 steps. The first step is you have to find interests of an applicant that fits your company. Then you have to find the interest that fits your team. And the last step will be to give the applicant the opportunity to benefit himself or herself, the team, and your company by working for you. So I have another example, the last one, and I think that might be even more difficult. Because we are talking about women. When it comes to the topic of women and career, I think I do not really have to explain something. For example, in Germany, you are not allowed to ask a woman whether she wants to get pregnant or whether she already is pregnant. At least you're not allowed to do that in a job interview. So, and when we start from there, everyone is afraid to get asked the question or to just ask the question. And I started thinking about how can we get rid of this fear. So one solution would be, I thought about when people are meeting each other the first time, what they are first looking for. It's quite simple. They are looking for the same interests. They are looking for a topic they can talk about. And when it comes to that, when I think about women and career, it's quite simple. When we have young mothers, for example, who only find their fulfillment within the career and their family, then we should give them the chance to share their interests and to work together. When we think about what we already have, we have part-time work. We have external childcare. We have companies who are trying to put this external childcare as close as possible to the working space. And what we have in addition, there are a few companies trying to even improve the working environment. But if we can give the mothers the chance to really interact with each other, if one mother wants to get her working, another one within the company can take care of the child. And not even that, the children themselves can also engage with other children to decrease the distraction for the working mothers. So the system, and this is the most important part, should be applied not with force or pressure. The women should have the chance to plan their day, and they also should have the chance to deal and to organize the whole working environment themselves by supporting each other. So I will end with the following. During all my interviews with mothers, one of a good friend told me the following. I do not want to get a job just because I'm a woman. And me as a man, I want to add, me neither, because I'm a man. Because the funny thing is, discrimination is only part of our life because we got used to carry it in our own consciousness. In hundreds of years, we tried to establish justice out of equality. But what you are really looking for is inequality. You shouldn't even try to treat and make people equal, but instead support their diversity. In the end, there are as many individuals as there are humans. So let us be human. Let us be diverse. Thank you.